Hello and welcome to another Let's Draw tutorial with Procreate. We will be completing this really sweet Kakeshi doll which originates from Japan. I've created a colour palette and stamp set for you to download. You'll find the link in the description below. You will need a canvas size of 2000 by 2000 pixels at 300 dpi. And when you're ready, let's draw. Once you've created your canvas, we are going to choose this colour in the colour palette and we are going to drag and drop it onto the canvas. We are going to create a new layer. We're going to choose this colour here in the colour palette. We are going to go to our stamp set and choose the Kokeshi doll hair stamp. And I've got my size here at 40% and we're just going to tap on the screen. We're going to go to our arrow tool in uniform option and we're going to move it over into the centre vertically. And then hit the arrow tool when you're done. We're going to create a new layer and drag that underneath with the same colour and with the monoline brush. I've got mine set to 15%. It doesn't really matter what size. We've got it here. We're just going to draw in a circle. Hold your pen in place and tap one finger on the screen to make it a perfect circle. We're going to drag and drop that colour in. We're going to go to our arrow tool in uniform mode. We're just going to make it a little bit bigger and then pop it into the centre until you've got it in that sort of position. We are then going to go to our magic wand tool. We're going to go to Liquify and in push mode, and I've got my size at about 40%. We're just going to flatten that top bun like that and then tap when you're done. We are then going to layer one and create a new layer. We're going to choose this colour here in the colour palette and we're going to draw a circle. Hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen to make it a perfect circle, and then we're going to drag and drop that colour in. We are going to create a new layer. We are going to clip and mask it. We're going to bring the opacity down to about 50% to start with. We're going to go back to this colour here and with our monoline brush, again I've got it about 15%, we're just going to make an arc like that. We are going to close the shape and then drag and drop that colour in. We're going to go to our magic wand tool, Gaussian blur, and we are going to slide to the right until we get to about a 7% blur and then tap when you're done. We are going to create a new layer. We're going to clip and mask it. We're going to choose this colour here. And again with our monoline brush, we're just going to draw in an oval. Hold your pen in place. About that sort of size and shape is fine. And we can drag and drop our colour in. Whoops. There you go. And then we are going to our Gaussian blur. And we're going to blur that out until we get to a 7% blur. We are then going to create a new layer and we are going to drag it above layer one. We're going to choose this colour here in the colour palette, and with the monoline brush set to 15%, we're going to draw in another circle. Hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen, drag and drop the colour in. We are going to go to our arrow tool in uniform mode. We're just going to move it and pop it into the centre and slightly up until it's in that sort of position. We are then going to go to our wrench tool, drawing guide. We're going to activate it. We're going to edit the drawing guide. We're going to go to symmetry and we're going to hit done. We are then going to go to our magic wand tool. We're going to go to Liquify. And again, we're just going to play around with the size here, but we just want to flatten this bottom part of the face here and then just bring in the size. So as you can see, because we've got our symmetry turned on, I'm just going to bring the size up a little bit. Whatever changes I make on one side is happening on the other as well. So I just want to make that face a little bit thinner and a little bit more square at the bottom until you've got something like that, and then tap the magic wand tool when you are done. We are then going to create a new layer. We're going to clip and mask it. We're going to change the blending mode to multiply. And with the same colours selected and with our monoline brush maxed out, we are going to just drop in a shadow underneath the hairline here. Hold your pen in place, then you can go to edit shape. I'm just going to make mine a little bit thinner. And then we're going to go and draw and assist that layer and then just drop in a shadow on the side like that. We can then go to our magic wand tool, Gaussian blur, and then we can slide to the right and then blur that out to about 3%. And then let's just bring that opacity down to 85%. We're then going to create a new layer. We're going to go back to this color here. We're going to use the Eyelash Stamp. And I've got the size here at 7%, and we're just going to tap on the screen. We are then going to duplicate that layer, go to our arrow tool. In uniform, we're going to flip horizontal with snapping turned on, and then we're just going to move it over to the side. We are then going to create a new layer. We're going to go back to this red color here, and in our stamp set, we're going to choose the Lips stamp. And I've got the size here at 1%, and we're just going to tap on the screen like that. And we can just move it with uniform and snapping turned on, and just to make sure we are in the center, you'll see that vertical orange or blue line. We are then going to create a new layer. We're going to use this color here. I'm going to go back to our monoline brush. I'm just going to bring the size down to about 10%. You can actually zoom in and rotate your canvas. I'm just going to drop in an oval here. Hold your pen in place and tap one finger on the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. And then you can drag and drop the color in. I'm then going to go to our magic wand tool, Gaussian blur, slide to the right until we get about 5% blur on that one. We are then going to duplicate it, arrow tool in uniform mode, and we're going to slide to the left. We can actually just merge those layers together. We are now going to go to layer 2, create a new layer. We're going to clip and mask it. We are going to lower the opacity down to around 30%, and we're going to go to this color here. And with our monoline brush selected, we are just going to drop in an arc here on the left-hand side. We can edit the shape, and we're just going to move it slightly. So you've got something like that, and then you can just go in and close the shape and drag and drop the color in. We're going to do a similar thing on the other side, but we're going to just do this sort of shape. So we're going to come down like that in an arc, and then we are going to do a straight line like this, and then we are going to do another arc at the bottom like that. Then we can go in and close the shape and drag and drop in the color. I'm actually going to lower the opacity a little bit more, I think about 20%, like that. We're then going to create a new layer, same color selected. We're going to go to our stamp set, and we're going to use the highlight stamp. And I've got the size here at 5%. We're just going to drop in a highlight there, and then just move it over to the left like so. We are then going to go to this layer here, and we're going to create a new layer. We are going to clip and mask it. We are going to drop in a highlight here, and then we're just going to make it a little bit smaller and then just move it to the side like that. I'm just going to scale it down a tiny bit more until you've got something like that. We are then going to create a new layer. We're going to clip and mask it, and we're going to lower the opacity down to 20% as well. And with our monoline brush, we are just going to do a little shape like that. And then we're going to close it and then fill that layer in like that. We are now going to create a new layer above layer 1. We're going to choose this colour here. We are going to go to the Kakeshi doll body stamp, and I've got the size here at 50%, and I'm just going to tap on the screen. But actually, first of all, I'm going to just choose all the layers for the face and the head. So I'm just going to swipe to the right and select them. They're all blue, and just group them, collapse that group. I'm then going to move the head up just a little bit like that. I'm just going to go back to the body layer, and with our arrow tool in uniform, I'm just going to move it slightly down and into the center. We're then going to create a new layer above layer 17. We're going to clip in mask it. We are going to choose this color here in the color palette, and with our monoline brush set to around 10%, we can zoom in. Oh, we're going to just quickly draw and assist that layer so that you can just go in and draw a neckline. You might take a couple of attempts to do it. There you go. And then we can close that shape and drag and drop the color in. We are then going to create a new layer. We're going to clip and mask it. We're going to choose this color here with our monoline brush set to 10%. We are just going to draw in an arc like that. And then we are going to draw in a line here. Hold your pen in place to make it a perfectly straight line. And that's our collar done. We're now going to draw and assist this layer. And then we're going to just draw in the sleeves. Hold your pen down. And then we're going to draw a line down here. And then back up again like that. Before we continue, I'm actually going to go back to this group that we've got for the head and face. And I'm just going to go to our arrow tool, and I'm just going to, in uniform mode, just scale that down a tiny bit and then move her down like that. I think I prefer that size better. We are then going to go to this layer here, layer 17, and we're going to create a new layer. That's already clipped, that's fine. We're going to choose this color here, this pink. We are going to go to the heart stamp. I've got the size set to 4%, and then we're just going to drop in 3 hearts like that. We are then going to bring the size down to around 2%, and we're going to choose this color. And then we can just zoom in, but keeping your canvas straight. We are going to drop in a green heart in the center like that. We're then going to go to our arrow tool, and then we're just going to rotate them a little bit and then move them down until you've got something that looks like that. We are then going to duplicate that layer, go to our arrow tool in uniform. We're going to switch to horizontal, and then we're just going to drag that over like that. And you can actually merge those 2 layers together. We're going to create a new layer. We're going to go back to that pink, and we are going to increase our size to 4% using that heart stamp. We're just going to tap here in the middle. We are then going to drawing assist that layer, and we are just going to drop in a couple of hearts like that. We are then going to switch our color out back to this one, bring our stamp size down to 2%. We are going to remove drawing assist, and then you can zoom in, keeping your canvas straight. We can then just drop in those green hearts in the middle of our pink hearts like that. We are now going to select all the layers by swiping to the right, but not layer 1. We just want all the layers for our Kokeshi doll. And then we can just move her up a little bit like that. And then we can go to layer 1. We're going to create a new layer. We're going to go to this color here, and using our monoline brush at 10%, it doesn't really matter what size, we're just going to draw in an oval. Hold your pen in place, drag and drop the color in. We are then going to reduce the opacity down to around 65%. Go to our magic wand tool, Gaussian blur, and then slide to the right until you get a 7% blur. We are then going to go back to our magic wand tool. We're going to go to motion blur, and then we're just going to slide up diagonally from left to right, ever so slightly, until we get to around 30%, and then tap the magic wand tool when you are done. I'm actually going to remove this drawing assist line, so we can go to our wrench tool and we can just toggle off drawing guide because we don't need that anymore. We are then going to go back to layer 1, and we're going to create a new layer, and that same color selected, we're going to use our soft brush at around 60%, and just here in the bottom right hand corner, we're just going to drop in a little bit of shadow. We are then going to reduce the opacity down to 50%. We are then going to create a new layer. We're going to go to this color, and we're going to do the same thing on the top left corner. We're just going to drop in some color here so the light is coming from the top left. We can then reduce that opacity down to 50 as well. I'm going to go back to layer 1. I'm going to create a new layer. We're going to use this color here, and with our monoline brush, it doesn't really matter what size, I've got it at 10%. We're just going to draw in a circle. Hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen to make it a perfect circle. And we are going to drag and drop that color in. We're going to use our arrow tool under uniform, and then just pop it onto our background until you've got something like this. And that's our Kakeshi doll now complete. I hope you had fun with this one. I would love to see your finished artwork over on Instagram. I'll leave the link to my IG account in the description below. Come and tag me in over there, and I'll share your artwork to my stories. And until the next time, stay safe. See you soon.